welcome to another episode of North Coast History and Haunts. In today's episode, we're going to explore the Sheldon Marsh Nature Preserve in Huron, Ohio. Come on, let's take a walk. Well, the road that we're walking on right now has a lot of historical ties, and we're going to explore these stories as we walk and talk. You're going to want to stick around to the end for this one. As we walk, you're going to see some birds pop up and make their distinctive calls. Well, here's one now. The Sheldon Marsh State Nature Preserve got its start from a gentleman by the name of Dr. Dean Sheldon. He was a Sandusky obstetrician who owned the land from 1954 to 1979. It all started when he had treated a nearby patient and sort of stumbled upon the land and took an interest in it. He and his wife, Celestina, took their children for a picnic on the beach in the woods near the old Cedar Point entrance and just fell in love with it. Dr. Dean Sheldon, quite by accident, then ran into the secretary of the Cedar Point company and told him that if the company ever wanted to sell this place, he'd like to buy it. Well, after a board meeting a week later, the Cedar Point official called Dr. Sheldon and said, "It's yours if you want it." Sheldon agreed, and in short order, the land was his. In 1954, Dr. Sheldon bought the 56-acre land from Cedar Point, which at the time was just swampland and a beach barrier. In fact, the neighbors derisively called it Sheldon's Folly. The property included the original Cedar Point roadway as well as the entrance. Dr. Sheldon built a cabin as a family retreat and opened the area to scout troops and youth organizations to enjoy it too. Upon his passing, the state of Ohio purchased the land from his estate in 1979 and added an additional 405 acres worth of land, making it one of the largest coastal wetlands along Lake Erie. Today, thanks to diligent conservation efforts, Sheldon Marsh is home to over 300 different bird species and is home to many different types of reptiles, wildflowers, and other native plants. This place attracts bird watchers and nature lovers from all over, especially during the spring migration season. The Sheldon Marsh State Nature Preserve is important because it's one of the last remaining sites where undeveloped coastal beach turns to marshland. The road that we're walking on is considered one of the first concrete roads built in the state of Ohio, and it was the original road to Cedar Point. It was built just in time for the 1913 season. It was the idea of George Beckling, and he was a visionary who had just assumed operating control of Cedar Point, and he really understood the value in this new technology, the automobile. The road was built on a sand spit, which made it unstable, and prior to that, Cedar Point was only accessible by boat or by swimming. The road wouldn't last long, however, a wicked Lake Erie spring storm would wipe out the road in 1919, forcing a relocation of the entrance to Cedar Point just 2 miles to the west. Today, the replacement road is known as the Chaussee and still exists today. A rumor exists that all residents on the Chaussee receive season passes to Cedar Point due to the excessive traffic in the summer months. We're going to take a look at the original gate to Cedar Point. The original road opened to the public on July 19, 1914, and was said to have been instantly clogged that day by over 500 cars, mostly Model T Fords, and Cedar Point quickly ran out of parking spaces on the first day the road was open. Running out of parking spaces is a problem that still exists to this day for Cedar Point, especially during the popular Hollow Weekends promotions. After the road to Cedar Point washed out, the road was known to be a main corridor for bootleggers as it provided secretive access to the lake and the road and the nearby rail line as well. At the very end of the Sheldon Marsh Road is a water pump station. It was built by the federal government in 1941. The pump station provided water to the Plum Brook Ordnance Station about 5 miles to the south, which was building munitions for World War II. A water pump was replaced in the station in 2008 and today provides water to the surrounding community. The land the Plum Brook Ordnance Station was built on in 1941 was taken by eminent domain, and the original landowners were upset when after the war concluded, the land wasn't sold back to them. In fact, it was expanded and given to NASA for experiments and research, including a nuclear reactor. So it's kind of crazy to think that this pump station provided water to a nuclear reactor. The reactor wasn't used to provide energy, however. It was used for space-related experiments. So it didn't have those massive water cooling towers you see at facilities like Davis-Besse just down the road. The reactor first went critical on June 14th in 1961 and was finally shut down on January 5th in 1973. The nuclear facility's decommissioning began in 1998, and the last of its structures was demolished in May 2012. The entire process ultimately cost $250 million, significantly more than the inflation-adjusted cost of constructing the entire facility. The Plum Brook reactor was decontaminated and decommissioned under a 2008 cost-plus-fee contract valued at more than $33.5 million. And a lot of research still takes place today at the Plum Brook Station, including it's the world's largest space vacuum chamber, the world's largest electromagnetic effects capability, the world's only space chamber able to fire a rocket engine at altitude, and the world's largest space electric propulsion capability. The NASA Plum Brook Station, now called the Neil Armstrong Facility, still remains a vital part of our space-related experiments and research. So as we kind of wind up this video, we're going to take a quick gratuitous drone shot here and show you where the original road that started it all once stood as the original road to Cedar Point. If you like this video, here's another one we hope you'll enjoy. Like, subscribe, tell all your friends, and we'll see you down the road. Enjoy the birds.